Then I ran into a dealer that I saw during the Brimfield show in July and had bought some machinist tools from, and he was back. He had scored another big find of machinist tools, and there were two Starrett toolboxes. These were boxes that were made by Kennedy back in the day and were specifically made for Starrett. So they have Starrett badges on the front, and they have almost like a purplish, reddish maroon color to them, and red velvet inside instead of the classic brown that Kennedy used. So I didn't end up buying the boxes, but I did go through all of the drawers and all of the boxes, and through some of the stuff he had on the table there, and bought a lot of what he had there. Not everything, but everything in this box. I just kind of went down line, and when we agreed on price, we put it in, piled it, and added it all up. And by the time I was done, I dropped $405 for the contents of this box. So let's take a look and see what I got, see how I did. So this is a Machinery Handbook 19th edition in excellent condition. Let's just get these blades out of the way for starters. This is a Starrett satin chrome finish 12-inch blade in pretty good condition, a little blemish on the end there, otherwise pretty good. In addition to that, we also had another Starrett 12-inch blade. Again, these would be for combination head or protractor head, or centering head would go on these. And oddly enough, I don't think he had any of the heads for these, so just had the two blades. And then this is a nice Starrett hook rule, which I've got some Starrett hook rules, but I don't think I have a 12-inch Starrett hook rule. So it's a satin chrome scale with this little attachment on it. And then this is nice. This is a 18-inch satin chrome scale Starrett, also in excellent condition. And inside this envelope here is another 12-inch satin chrome finish scale. This one appears to be mint, so that would explain why it's in the envelope. This is a really nice piece. This is a Starrett, a genuine Starrett bench block. So this is a number 129, clearly marked. It's in excellent condition. I have one of these now. I think I might have a no-name one, but it serves me really well. So this one's I'm gonna sell this one, because I decided a long time ago that if I had something good and serviceable in my collection that I could use, and it wasn't the extra expensive, like well sought after Starrett item, that I would just live with it for my own purposes and turn the more expensive one into money, So for instance, that's why in my personal tools that I keep, are my keepers, there are some Starrett items, definitely, but there's also a bunch of stuff that's, Mitutoyo, Brown and Sharp. Initially, he had kind of a high price on these two tap wrenches, but by the time we get down to the end, I had bought so much stuff, he got more flexible. So this is a pair of Starrett tap wrenches. This is a pair of Starrett V-blocks that are like coated with this black enamel, which I've never seen before. It's got one of the original clamps with it. So originally this would have come with this pair of blocks, two clamps, and a rod that would go through these holes just to keep these lined up perfectly if you wanted to keep them in alignment. So these are Starrett number 271 blocks. This is something I've never had before in all of my years of buying tools. These are, the box says that these are Starrett 581-45s. So what it appears they are is a little Starrett angle block, a really skinny one. What's interesting to me is that for some reason there's not one, not two, but three of them in this box. So I'm going to have to look in the catalog and see exactly whether or not there's supposed to be just one that comes in a box, or I can't imagine there would be 3. Here's a nice little Starrett hook rule 6-inch. This has got the double style hook on it, and it has the Starrett drill point gauge. So that little doohickey right there that's clamped onto this thing is a pricey little attachment. Here's another nice Starrett item. This is the Starrett number 472 screw pitch gauge. This is the Big Daddy. This is the one that's got a whole bunch of sizes all in one. He had a whole bunch of Starrett edge finders. He had 4 of these 827Bs and 2 of these, I think these are 827As. But these are all Starrett. Oddly enough, he had just 1 Starrett screw jack, but then in the other drawers I found not 1, not 2, but 3 of the large risers for a Starrett screw jack, 1 of the short risers for a Starrett screw jack, and only 1 of the accessories for a Starrett screw jack. But I just realized now that this is not the attachment for, this is not the accessory for this standard size. This is actually an attachment for the more rare or less common small little Starrett screw jack. So this one was missing the swivel head, but then when I was rummaging through the drawers I found the swivel head, so just clicks on. So he had these 4 pin vices in there, but I looked at him and realized, well, he's got a duplicate of, so he's got an A and then 2 B's, no C, and a D, I believe. But that's okay, because I always, when I find these as singles or whatever, just you know, orphan ones, I buy them for a couple of bucks and then I throw them in a drawer, and eventually I can make full sets. I picked up also in this slot this mag base. This is a 657, and what's nice about this one, it is complete. It's actually extra complete because it's got 1 extra snug on here. Here's a nice Starrett taper gauge. I've had these in the past, but I might not have one of these long ones like this. I'm not sure. So this is a Starrett number 267. Again, he had a whole bunch of these Starrett adjustable parallels, but it's not quite, again, it's not quite a full set. So this is a 154 set of parallels, so that's an A. There's the C. There's no B's. There's another C. There's another C. So 1 A, 3 C's, 1 that's unmarked. Scratch that. 2 that are unmarked that appear to be D size, and 2 E's. And a Starrett number 284 20-degree screw thread gauge with the little envelope. This nice little number 20 square. It's a Starrett number 20. And that size there. He had a little box like this for the Starrett, like 1.5 inch size number 20. But the square that was in it was a generic unmarked square. Oh, here's a nice little piece. This is a Starrett 134 level, cross test level, I think they might call this one. It's got the two bubbles in it, and I've had these before, but I've never had one that clean. And then also there was this little funny cross test level that is a no-name. This feels much cheesier. Here's a little anvil that I got. Kind of cute little guy. Oh, here's a 6-inch blade Starrett. I did find this center head, but this center head is smaller. Excuse me, this center head is smaller. It's actually for the smaller sized blades. And that's the only head attachment that I found. And then also found not one but two of these blades that I believe are for a bevel square or bevel protractor kit. These are, one of these is unmarked, and then this one is clearly marked that it's a Starrett, and it has the little graduation marks on it. This little itty bitty center punch, this is a Starrett AA size center punch. This nice little Starrett tap wrench. This nice little set of Starrett small hole gauges without a pouch. And the last piece out of this deal is this little Starrett center punch, but this is a kind of rare one. This is a scribing center punch. It's got this unusual little attachment right here, and I've had these before, and they're extra pricey because of that little extra detail there. You don't find these very often. Oh, I'm sorry, and then there was one other item. There were two loops in there, and he decided to keep one of them, and I got the other one. And the loop is actually, it's a Peer, P-E-E-R loop, single, made in Japan. So it's actually a good quality one. Like I said, that was $4.05 for that, and then I came back later in the day to see how he was doing, and what he still had that he hadn't sold, and I bought a couple other items for another $45. I ended up getting one of the other 657 mag bases that he had there. This one, the screw here is stuck, the locking knob here is stuck. When I try and turn it, actually the whole thing unscrews, so I've got to put something in there to hold that from spinning, and then put a wrench on here and try not to damage the knurling to break this free, because when you loosen this, that frees this ball up so that you can move it all around. And then this is a fine adjustment that this model has, so when you get the indicator close and you want to just zero it in a little bit. So that's actually a more expensive version than this version here, but it is missing it is missing a snug on the end here, but I'll probably just end up stealing maybe that one off of there. Then he had this nice Starrett depth micrometer. Unfortunately, he didn't have the case for it, but it works perfectly. It's got a nice wide foot to it, and it's a blade style, which are a little less common, so I get a little bit more money for these. And I did find the other two rods, so it's a 0 to 3 complete. Just needs a case. And last but not least, a Starrett Wiggler, which he had 20 on it, and I had offered him 10 earlier, and he didn't want to take the 10, but then he took the 10 when I came back. So that also looks very clean. Like, I don't think this has ever been used. Alright, so in the next video, I'll feature whatever I end up buying on the second day to the Brimfield Flea Market. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoy watching these videos, please hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing and sharing the video. Take care.